With that, we bring in Big B, Bryan Kehl, into the mix with Brian Logan. Welcome back.
Thank you.
It's a Friday, baby.
I might have to add that to my repertoire. I got two little kids that kind of.
It works, man.
They kind of take their time from here and then. So I might try that. We'll
Hurry up.
if it works, then I'm gonna
you got to. It worked
incorporate
for me.
it.
Worked for me, man. I put a pep in my step real fast.
Okay.
Today's Twitter question: when you hear the words Big 12 expansion, what's your initial reaction? What's
Let's
the answer
do it, man. Come on. It's about time. You have 10 teams. Your name is the Big 12. Like, case closed. I mean, what? You shouldn't even have to talk after that. After you have 10 teams and your name is the Big 12. They have like some motto or something that's like
one true champion.
Yeah. One true champion. Yeah. You don't have one true champion. You had 2 last year.
Yeah, 2 and it killed you.
Like it's just like nonsensical. Like Twilight Zone stuff. Dude, is this really? You call yourself the Big 12? You got 10 teams?
Yeah, it doesn't.
I mean, come on.
Yeah,
it doesn't make
sense
silly.
to me.
It's silly.
Mm-hmm. Right, and we've been talking in the opening segment what's trending about. There were 4 coaches that openly said at Big 12 Media Days, yes, let's expand. So it seems like there's more movement that direction. Our opinion is that we're watching a volcano smoke. It will erupt. Do you think the Big 12 will expand or get picked from in the next couple of years?
I don't know. I'm not really in the prediction business because sometimes you're wrong. I don't like being wrong, but
there's a risk there. That's where all the fun is.
I like being right. I mean, I think they're gonna have to. So shoot, there I said it. There's a prediction. I don't know. I could be wrong, but I think they're gonna have to. And I'm surprised that there's only 4. I'm surprised that there's not more after what happened last year. I mean, it's a no-brainer. They had 2 teams on the outside looking in because they don't have a championship game. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
And one of those teams, TCU, flat out said no.
No to
expansion. No, I don't want to expand.
That makes no sense.
They have to think it's a fluke.
It makes no sense.
That's not going to happen.
Yeah, well,
that's what they think,
have
right?
to be a little messed up in the head because, hey, guys, you had 2 really good football teams.
Yeah,
really good.
Yeah, really good.
Really good football teams that both stubbed their toe during the course of the season, which is what happens in sports. Okay, they both stubbed their toe. The fact that they didn't get into the dance is because they didn't have a championship game. There's no other way to look at it. They didn't get robbed. If I was in charge of making that selection, I would have done the same thing.
Yeah.
Even though I think they're better teams than Florida State, and you could make an argument with Oregon, or you could make an argument. I don't know. You could make an argument with Alabama or Ohio State, but I think you could make an argument that they're a better team throughout the course of the season than Florida State and then Oregon.
Yeah.
But guess what? Florida State went undefeated.
Yeah.
They went undefeated 2 years in a row, okay? If you're the defending champion and you go undefeated the next season, I don't care how many close calls you have. I don't care how weak your schedule is. I don't care how weak your conference is. You're going to get in.
Or how messed up your quarterback is.
I don't care about any of that stuff. You're going to get in. That's what, the people in the selection committee, they don't have any choice. You can't not have the defending champion who is also the only undefeated team in the country.
Right.
They're going to get in, okay? Alabama's had 1 loss, right? If I remember right, they're a 1-loss team, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, they're in the SEC, the supposed best conference. They're getting in.
Yep.
Ohio State had what? 1 loss.
One loss to Virginia Tech.
1 loss, and they had
tons of momentum.
Dominant win in a championship game.
With the third string
quarterback.
If J.T. Barrett would have been hurt in that game, I'm not sure they get in because they're not sure about them.
Yeah.
Instead, they crush Wisconsin.
With a 3rd string.
Okay, so if the Big 12 does expand, do you expect BYU to get an invite?
No, I don't. So there is where I'm not gonna. I think that's the obvious choice, and it's the best choice. But we've seen in times past that they make weird choices. So
they being Power 5 conferences.
Yeah, they being the powers that be.
Historically with BYU, that's what you're getting at, I think.
So
right?
I mean, it just goes back throughout history. I was with Chad Lewis the other day, and we were talking about that magical '96 season. And I kind of joked. I was like, "Oh, you guys stubbed your toe." To use that same phrase, stubbed your toe against Washington. For those uninitiated, BYU went 14-1 in 1996. They had 1 loss early in the season against Washington
on the road.
And this is pre-BCS. This is a different era.
Bowl Alliance.
The Bowl Alliance. Yep. And so anyway, I asked Chad. I was like, "Hey, if you had gone undefeated, do you think you would have gotten in to the Bowl Alliance?" And he said, "No, I don't think so."
And they were ranked 5th after the WAC
at the end of the
championship game.
season. Yeah, and they didn't get in. So even and the rules are different now. If those same rules were in place, if you're ranked 5th, you're going to get in.
Right.
The rules, I mean, they're different now. But
now you could be.
But
25th.
anyway, sorry, I'm wandering here. But my point going back to sometimes the powers that be are biased. And they make biased decisions. And in that case, I mean, it was obviously just Chad's opinion. We don't know what would have happened. It's speculative. But he's like, yeah, I don't think we would have gotten in. Back to your question. If they expand, do I expect BYU to get in? I don't know. I will say it is the obvious choice, but they've made dumb choices
I'm losing
before.
confidence now because Jared said no, he's with you. No.
I hope, because I'm
No,
with
I'm
you.
not saying no. I'm just saying I don't know.
I don't expect them to automatically.
I'm thinking that. I'm thinking that because everybody's saying that's the obvious choice. I'm thinking, okay, it's a no-brainer. So yes, I do believe
it's also
that they'll
a
get
no-brainer to have 12 teams in your 12 team.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Well,
so they've already proven that
I
they're.
understand that. I'm talking about when the time is coming, when it has to happen. And you have to choose
somebody,
two teams or somebody.
Yeah.
Who you want to choose? I believe it is BYU, but after that history lesson, Big B, I appreciate that because I was like 5 years old. I appreciate that. I don't have the confidence anymore. I'm gonna switch my answer now because I look at some other situations with BYU and how the perception is and how maybe some powers, like you said, are biased. Yeah. And I could definitely see, it play out where BYU doesn't get an invite.
Well, going back to that, Chad said that Lavelle went to that selection thing in New York or something. I don't know how it worked or what it was. But anyway, he went to something in New York. And Chad said that they treated him like garbage. Ooh. And he actually ended up, I think he left early or something. And he came back and was like, wow, that's just. Anyway, the point being, there's people out there who are biased. And for whatever reason, and so they obviously, like you hit the nail on the head there. They have 10 teams in a 12-team conference. They already have poor rational thought abilities. Okay, so when the time comes for them to expand, because it's probably going to come, because they're probably going to get left outside again.
Yeah, the
obvious choice is BYU. And here's the thing: I can't find in my mind 2 teams more deserving than us. Yeah. 2 teams. 2 teams. I mean,
one Cincinnati's probably on par. They're hanging out of there. Whatever. I want to add to your discussion of the powers that be not having BYU in the best interest.
Yeah.
2001, BYU is 11-0.
Yeah.
They've just defeated Mississippi State. Luke Staley broke his leg in that game. BYU's undefeated, ranked 8th. Yeah. The BCS said before the Hawaii game,
doesn't matter.
You're not going to be in.
Yeah.
Why would they say that?
Yep.
Why wouldn't you let the regular season play out? They say that BYU with an injured Luke Staley and the demoralizing fact they're not going to a BCS game, they're going to the Liberty Bowl.
Yeah.
Goes to Hawaii, they give up the most points they've ever given up in a game and lose 70 to 45 or whatever.
Yep.
That was another instance. BYU's paved the way, by the way, like these 2 instances, for the group of 5s or the last Heisman winner from a group of 5, Ty Detmer.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Davey O'Brien I think was from non-P5.
Last national championship.
Last national championship.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
So BYU set the pace.
Then that goes back to the statement I just made. Find me 2 other teams that are not in that are more deserving.
Maybe that's why there's so much angst related to this topic, because it seems like it's obvious to the obviously blue-goggled BYU fans of, hey, invite us. Yet BYU comes with some baggage, right?
Yeah.
All right, we're not going to play on Sunday.
Yeah, and that's it.
We want to be on ESPN. We want to use BYUtv. So at some point there will be concessions made if BYU is invited. So this is my question. What are you willing to give up if the Big 12 invites BYU?
Well, we're not playing on Sunday.
For sure.
And I think that's the biggest sticking point. I don't think that's the biggest sticking point.
In the other sports, maybe.
I think that's a big sticking point. I don't think it's the biggest. I take that back. I think the biggest sticking point is just the stigma of us being a tight-collared, just uppity-up church school. And I think that's the bias. They look at us and BYU, on their high horse and whatever.
The fact that BYU wants to be different is 100% accurate.
Yeah, and I think they hold that against us. I think they don't like that. I think that for whatever reason,
what the Big 12 comes to you and say, okay, I'll give you an invite, Big B, if you do away with the ESPN contract, BYUtv TV contracts, you have to, conform to what we're doing here.
Yeah.
Would you say yeah? Are you willing to give that up?
It depends on the details of the dollars, which I don't know.
Right.
My gut would be it'd be worth it to get in, to give that up. That'd be my gut, but that's being ignorant of the details of the dollars.
Right.
So it just kind of depends on how lucrative our deal is and what the concession would be in the new deal if we were able to get in. But my gut would be, it'd still be worth it, because at the end of the day, independence is great, whatever, but we need to be in a big conference. We need to be.
Bottom line is give up
to get where we want to go.
Yeah, give up some of the things that you want to hold dear to.
Which that's life, Sometimes you got to give up the little things to get the big things.
Dude, we was just preaching right there, man. That was a life lesson.
Preach.
You got, Jerem, take some notes.
Hurry up, man. And the hope is that if BYU gets a Big 12 invite, that they can keep as many things as possible of what they've currently got. And TV contracts is a huge thing right now. Exposure and access are the priorities. You'd have to blatantly say, listen, money and access to better bowls would be the thing we want.